Let's talk about how to win with Google Shopping ads. My name is Corbin. I'm a digital marketing specialist, and I've tried just about anything you can think of to test and fail and win with Google Shopping ads, particularly Google Smart Shopping campaigns. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the top tips that I've learned on how to scale your campaigns. Now, this is something that not a lot of people know how to do efficiently, but I'm actually going to be breaking it down step by step. I'm going to have a full guide for you so that you can follow specific questions and answer yes or no to those questions and figure out which steps you need to go through next. So I'm super excited for this video. If you just started an e-commerce store, or if you have an established e-commerce store and you are looking to scale your Google ads, first of all, congratulations. That's an exciting journey for you. But second, I'm excited to share this knowledge so that hopefully it can take your business to the next level. Now, before we do jump in, it is important to note that this will be going over specifically something called Google Smart Shopping campaigns. If you don't know what the difference is, or if you haven't heard of that before, there's Google Standard Shopping campaigns and Smart Shopping campaigns. If you don't know what the difference is, you can check out this video right here. I actually walk through the exact differences on that. But for this one, we're going to be focusing on Google Smart Shopping campaigns. So let's jump right into the framework that I'm going to give you to help understand how you can scale your Google Shopping campaigns and maybe what the problems might be, and basically step by step on where to go from there. So I'm going to move on over, get my big head out of the way, over to this screen over here. And this is where I want you to start. If you are wondering how the heck you're supposed to scale your Google ads, or what does that even look like, I just want you to just go through this flow and ask yourself these yes or no questions. So the first question that we have here is the 14-day learning period over? Now, if you aren't familiar with Google Smart Shopping campaigns, this may be a little bit confusing, but when you first launch a Smart Shopping campaign, there's actually 14 days that when the campaign gets launched, where the Google algorithm is learning who the best customers are to target, where to send, or how to get you the best target ROAS. And so it usually takes 14 days for that system to learn and to be completely done. So if you launched your campaign and you're still within the 14-day window, then I don't want you worrying too much about scaling your campaign or about the results so far, because usually the first week or so in a Smart Shopping campaign, the results are subpar, and then the campaign starts to learn as long as you're giving it enough data. So the first question you need to ask yourself is the 14-day period over? If the answer is no, then the simple thing to do for you is to just simply wait 14 days before you make changes to start scaling and optimizing your Google Smart Shopping campaigns. Now, if the 14-day period is over, then you go onto this column that says yes, and the next question is, did you set a target ROAS? Now, when you're first setting up your Google Shopping campaign, you'll notice that there's an area where you can set the target ROAS. Sometimes people skip over it because it's kind of hidden inside of there. If you didn't set a target ROAS, then that's where you could answer yes or no to this question. If you did, then the next question is the campaign hitting your target ROAS? If the campaign is hitting your target ROAS, then is the budget being 100% spent? If the budget is being 100% spent, then simply increase your budget, right? Because you're hitting your target ROAS and you're coming up against your threshold. Say you're spending $100 a day every day and it's consistently hitting that, and you're still getting say you have it set at a 3 ROAS and you're hitting that, then simply raise your budget, because that means that there's room for you to grow. And that's the simple way to scale your Google Shopping ads campaign. Now, I can tell you most of the time it's not as easy as that, or that's like the easy path, right? Because you're hitting your target ROAS and the budget's not being spent, so you can just increase it. But a lot of times it comes down to, is your budget being 100% spent? And the answer is actually no. So if the answer to that question is no, then you actually need to lower your target ROAS. Now, I know this can be kind of scary as an e-commerce store, especially when you're living and dying by margins, but I encourage you to give this a test. Just lower your target ROAS. Say that you're at a 3, you're setting a 300% target ROAS. Try lowering it down to 250 or 200. Let it run for a week or two. See how that goes. You'll be surprised at the amount of budget that all of a sudden starts flooding in, or the impressions or the clicks. Now, with target ROAS, you need to kind of keep in mind that when you raise your target ROAS, you are basically giving Google a lower bid. You're saying, Google, I want to bid less because I need to be more profitable. But when you decrease your target ROAS, essentially you're increasing your cost per click. So something to keep in mind inside of there, and it's a big lever that not a lot of people utilize and even try testing on what the target ROAS should be. So if you aren't hitting 100% of your budget spend and you want to scale your ads a little bit more, try dropping your target ROAS a little bit more. A lot of times I do find that the impressions go up, but the target ROAS actually stays around around the same level. Sometimes it does go down as well. I'm not saying that it's one way or the other, but give it a test. Now, heading back over here to this section, is your campaign hitting its target ROAS? So if your campaign isn't hitting its target ROAS, and it's then that's where you can go to this section right here, which is, was the target ROAS set to a similar historical performance as your standard shopping campaigns? So if you're running standard shopping campaigns, and that was getting you say a 3 ROAS, did you set your target ROAS at a 3, or did you set it higher than a 3 or lower than a 3? If the answer to that is yes, then I have a full slide dedicated on what you can do in that situation. If the answer to that is no, then simply change your target ROAS to match the ROAS that you had. I'm saying ROAS so many times. The ROAS that you had before, or the ROAS that you had with the standard shopping campaign. Now, so that's that situation right here. So now we're going to go back up to this. So if you are out of the 14-day learning period, you did not set a target ROAS. The next question you need to ask yourself is the campaign performing well in terms of ROAS and conversion value? Because sometimes when you don't set a ROAS, it's actually a really good thing, because Google learns for itself on what your ROAS may be, and a lot of times that works out in a lot of people's favors. So if that is the case, then you can move on to this next column, which is yes, it is performing how I need it to. And then the next question is the budget 100% spent? If the answer is yes, then increase your budget. Again, it's the easy path, right? It's coming against that budget, just raise the budget, and then you can scale from there. But if the answer is no, then we need to see slide 2. And same with, is the campaign performing according to your target ROAS and conversion value? The answer is in slide 1. So I didn't want to spend too much going through. I spent more than I wanted to going through this like flow, but you can kind of pause it and read this situation for yourself and figure out what bucket you are currently in and follow the steps that are needed to scale from there. So now I'm going to go over to these slides and explain these exact scenarios and how you can scale from there. So we have slide 1, slide 2, and slide 3. So if we go over here, you notice I have slide 1, slide 2, and slide 3. So here's the situation that you're in if you are on slide 1. Your campaigns has passed the learning period, has good volume, but the performance is not as strong as expected. Here is what you can do if you are in this bucket. 1, you can set a higher target ROAS. You're like, duh, Corbin, of course I can do that. But a lot of people overlook that. That's definitely always a lever that you can do. You can always play with that target ROAS to make it higher or lower. Next thing you can do is check your change history to make sure no changes were made during the learning phase. I've noticed this a lot, that people think that they're out of the learning phase, but maybe 10 days in, they made a drastic change that had the algorithm restart the learning phase, or it made a drastic change and maybe it didn't reset the learning phase, but it was a big enough change that it could affect it. So go back into your change history. To do that, I'll have a little screen. Basically, go back into your change history and see if there were any changes made in the last 14 days that may have affected that. Third thing you can do is evaluate how many products are in your campaign. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I don't like adding all of my products in one campaign. I like to separate them out based on target ROAS or based on high performers, top performers, and break them out so I have more control. But when you first launch a smart shopping campaign, I do recommend keeping all of the products in one single campaign. The reason for this is you just give Google more data and more products to show to people so it can learn a little bit faster. So go through and evaluate how many of your products are currently in that campaign. If you have them spread thin between a couple campaigns, move them all into one single one, or maybe try breaking them out. That could be another thing that could work as well. And the fourth thing is make sure that there are no disapproved items in your merchant center. And here's what that looks like. So as you can see, there's a couple of items that are disapproved in here. Always be checking your Google Merchant Center, because that is literally what feeds the Google Shopping ads. If a item is disapproved in Google Merchant Center, then it won't show up in Google Shopping ads. And if you are like, shoot, I don't know how to go through and fix my errors in Google Merchant Center, I have a full guide on how to do that. You can check out this video right here, or it'll be down below in the description. It'll walk you through how to fix your errors in Google Merchant Center step by step. It can kind of be a daunting task, but I promise you, as you learn step by step, you learn here and there a little bit, it will become quite easy and for you to go through and pull off. So that is scenario 1. That's this scenario over here. Is if we come over, if that's slide 1. Now we're going to move on to slide 2, and this is what slide 2 looks like. Here's the situation that you are in if you want to scale or optimize your campaign. Your campaign has passed the learning period. The performance is going well, but you need more volume. Here's what you can do. Consider testing a lower target ROAS. As I mentioned, lowering that target ROAS increases your bid, and in turn, it gives you more impressions, more clicks, more at-bats to show your products to customers. And this doesn't always result in a lower ROAS. It can, but it ultimately guarantees you more clicks and more impressions. Next thing that I want you to do is go through and evaluate your competitor benchmarking price and impression share. And how you do that, I'll show you how to do that real quick. You come over here to Google, you go to your shopping campaigns. You want to make sure that you click on one of your shopping campaigns here. So we're going to grab this one right here. You want to make sure that you are in the product groups. And then what you're going to do is you're going to scroll over. You're going to go to columns, and you want to modify your columns, and you want to make sure that you grab these competitive metrics and pull in all of these different metrics right here. Your search impression share, absolute top impression share. But the most important one here is the benchmark price or benchmark product price difference. This will show you your price that you're listing your items compared to what other competitors are showing up. Now in Google Shopping Ads, obviously your products are showing up right next to your competitors. So if somebody is selling something for $100, but you're selling it for $110, chances are consumers are going to go with the one that is a lower price. So it's very important to pay attention to these. So we're going to add those in. And as we scroll over here, you'll notice that our benchmark, move that. Scroll over, benchmark price difference. Now, it won't have this for all products. You need to have enough data for this to show. But as you can see here, for this product specifically, I am 1.39% more expensive than the average person. My price is 1.39 more expensive than my competitors. As you see, this is my average price, so it is slightly more expensive than my competitors. This one is slightly less expensive, but as you can see, I'm within 5% of my competitors. There's nothing crazy to where I'm 10, 20% below or behind, because if you're really low, then you're going to lose out on margins as well. So I encourage you to go through and check this out and make sure that you are showing up there. Another place where you can now kind of get an idea of where your competitors are at as well is in your Google Merchant Center. If you come over here to your Google Merchant Center and there's this new beta thing, you come here to performance. You come to competitive visibility, and this is actually going to show you your competitors' visibility based on yours. You can kind of see where you're at compared to your competitors. So another thing, this is in beta, so I think more features are going to come to this eventually. Right now, it's kind of helpful, but I just want you to be aware of it because it is something that can help you to check your benchmark prices as well, and then visit bestsellers from your competitors. So it's an awesome resource. I'll probably be doing a whole video dedicated to this once more comes out and we have more information on the beta, as you can see here, that is currently launched. But I want you to be aware of that as well. A little gold nugget there. Now we're going to go back over to this slide. And the last thing is and this is the feature, this is the same for all three of these slides. You want to make sure that you check to make that there are no disapproved items in your merchant center. I've seen this cripple stores. You want to be paying attention to that too on a daily basis. If something gets disapproved, go through and fix it as soon as you can. Now moving on to our last slide. So this is situation 3 right here. See slide 3. When we come over to this area. So in this situation, the bucket that you are in right now, if you are on slide 3, your campaign has passed the learning period. The target ROAS set is similar to the historical performance, but the Smart Shopping campaign is subpar. Here's what you can do. And I lost my third bullet here. This bullet is actually this one right here, disapproved items in Merchant Center. But this is really important. The first bullet in here, optimize your titles, your descriptions, and your images. I can tell you most people do not take the time to go through and optimize their titles, their descriptions, and their images. If you do this, you're going to have a massive leg up over your competitors. And essentially a good template to optimize a lot of people ask me, hey, how do I optimize my title, or what's a good template to use? Here's the template that I use. So if your product type is apparel, you want the headline to have your brand, gender, product type, attributes, color, size, material, etc. So an example is Zoco apparel, men's green hoodie, large. That's an example of how you can optimize your product type. And what this is doing is basically keyword stuffing as many things as people will be searching for and showing it in your product, in your actual headline. And it gives you a little bit more of a higher quality score as well. And a couple other examples are here as, consumable goods, brand plus product type, attributes, Zoco protein bars, chocolate chip, 12 pack. So use this. I'm not going to go through all these other two here, but you can pause the video and use this framework for your product or service, or adapt it into that as well, or try different variations of this as well. But this is a good kind of template for you to start to optimize your titles. Also, make sure you're testing your descriptions. And very important is Google Shopping ads are obviously very image based. So test different images as well. It's very important for you to get, the difference between a good image and a bad image can massively increase the traffic and decrease your cost per click and increase your target ROAS as well. Next thing is 2 other bullet points that we already basically kind of covered, which was evaluate your competitor benchmarking, price, impression share, etc. And then make sure that you have no disapproved items inside of Merchant Center. And there you have it, a guide or a step-by-step instructions on how you can optimize and scale your Google Shopping campaigns. Take a screenshot of this or do whatever you need to basically go through and walk through the scenario, figure out what bucket you fall into, and then go back to the slides to figure out what optimizations you can make inside of your Google Shopping campaign. If you enjoyed the video today, consider checking out this one as well. It goes through how to build a search campaign, a Google search campaign. We talked about Google Shopping ads in this one. This one's gonna talk about Google search campaigns. Also, if you made it this far, I would appreciate it if you aren't already subscribed and you did find value in the video that you subscribe. If you already are subscribed, thank you so much. It means the world to me. And also, please, a big thumbs up as well at the end. And we will see you in the next video.